Hello everyone, welcome back to another discussion. For this lesson, I'm going to talk about your mini case and give my input on how you can actually answer those questions. Osceola Auto Parts is an independent auto parts dealer that sells auto parts, run tests on customers' cars, and deliver parts and tools to mechanic shops around town. Okay, so I highly recommend you. What's that? To take a look at some examples of auto parts so that you have a better understanding on how they do it. But one of the questions in here identify possible actors and use cases involved in Oshala's business function. So I know that you will have, variation of your answer, but some of the actors that you might include can be customer, right? Mechanics, you can also do delivery drivers. Um, Use cases might include buy parts, manage parts inventory, task customer cars, and deliver parts. So I want you to create a documentation with, that use case, and maybe I could give one. So take a look at the chapter. We have a ton of examples when it comes to use cases, but let's say I would think about buy parts, okay? So I'm going to think about that as one of the actors that I can include, okay? So the name can be buy parts, the actor can be who? Of course, it's the customer, and the associate, the store associate is also important, okay? So on the description part, you need to describe what is happening for your use case. So again, if you haven't read this chapter, when we talk about use cases, the parts of use cases can be what? What's the name? Actor. You need to identify the description. Successful completion, right? What are the alternatives? Is there any precondition or post condition and assumptions? Okay, so I'm going to give you my input when it comes to, um, let's say, buy parts. Okay, because of course it's like a selling of auto parts and all that. You need an actor that is a customer. Also, you need a store associate, and for the description, maybe use the use case to describe the process used to buy parts at the auto parts dealer. I think that's a very straightforward answer for that, right? So, what are the different steps that you need to consider for your use case? Or should I say, successful completion? How can you do that? How can you describe the process on how to buy parts at the auto parts dealer? First, you need to request for the auto part. Or should I say, the customer has to request for an auto part, right? So this is just an example. You can, create another table, um, using use cases. Maybe next, when you request for an auto part, you need to ask the associate or store associate needs to what? Check if it's available, right? Check the part if it's available, right? Next, if the part is available, then of course the customer pays for the cost if he agrees to get that part. And number four, customer receives part and stock is adjusted. So keep that in mind. Inventory is also affected on, in any retail store, right? So those are just examples when it comes to showing possible actors and, using a use case. Okay, I want you to take a look at the table because on the second one you need to create a use case diagram for Oshala's operation. So I hope those steps that I mentioned, you find it useful. I just thought about the buy parts, but of course you need to also include what the delivery mechanics, and things like that, or um, manage parts inventory. So focus into one, and then you create your table for that business function. Okay. Now for question number three, you need to select one of the use cases and create a class diagram. Okay. So remember, on creating a class diagram, you need to show what? You need to show cardinality. You need to show what is connected to another one. Is it like what a one-to-one or yeah, one-to-one relationship? Let's say, for example, on a store associate, think about the different attributes that you need to consider. Maybe their employee number, their social security, their name, their hire date, their date of birth, and of course, the store associate will what? Will request, or should I say, sells part to what? To that customer. Customer is another field that you need to also include your attributes. Okay, so that is for your question number 3 when creating a class diagram. For question number 4, you need to create a sequence diagram for the use case that you selected. I'm not picky with the sequence diagram. Just make sure that consider the different actors. So you could think about customer. Another one again is a store associate. Of course, the inventory or part inventory. And lastly, your transaction record. So use those 4 to be able to create your sequence diagram. Okay? Now, if you have any other question, if you would like to somehow create a draft and send it to me, feel free to ask those questions, and please make sure to read and study your chapter 6. And I hope you find this information useful to be able to answer your lesson 6 mini case. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.